Hello, this is my SGDQ 2018 submission for Coda All Zones for Crypt the NecroDancer Amplified. Coda All Zones was a run category that was previously in a previous AGDQ, but that was just in the original game without the Amplified DLC. The Amplified DLC changes up quite a bit of the run, most notably adding an extra zone and removing the Ring of Phasing, which the previous run relied pretty heavily on to complete. So it's a whole lot of new stuff here, just based off of that. And yeah, I'll just get this this footage showing, and I'll. So this was a pretty standard run. Obviously, in the context of GDQ run, I'd be taking a little bit more safe approaches. Coda is a very, very difficult character, the most difficult character in the game. She moves at double tempo. She can only use a dagger as a weapon, which is very short-ranged and low damage. She can't miss any beats, and beat missing includes anything that would cause you to lose multipliers, such as performing an invalid action or pressing extra buttons off the beat. And she can't pick up at gold without dying. So pretty much everything kills you in one hit if you're not careful, but there are ways to mitigate that. There are a lot of safety items you can get. Normally in a speed run, I'd just be kind of pushing straight for the exit here, but you know, for going for marathon safety, that putting together a run a little bit more representative of what I'd probably do in GDQ. Taking a little bit of time in the early game to try and find some items to help provide some safety here. So I full clear this floor, just finding all the items and get some useful equipment. Blast Helm provides 3 bombs and immunity to explosions, and also makes your bombs detonate instantly, making them a good AoE panic button to just clear out enemies surrounding you. Ring of Piercing makes your attacks ignore shielding. Not very useful in the early game, but very strong in the late game. Swapping out to the Glass Jaw here, which doubles your overall damage output, so I can now deal 2 damage with that. Take the Glass Shrine here because Zone 1 has the problem of there's a lot of Tier 3 walls which only glass and obsidian shovels can dig through. The Battle Shovel I had just picked up before wouldn't cut it, and I want to make sure that I have the room to maneuver around. If you create a pile of 50 gold or more, you'll summon a Leprechaun the first time you do it in a run. So I do that to summon a Leprechaun and kill him for the Lucky Charm. What the Lucky Charm is going to do is going to make it so that bats, who move randomly, will not attack me unless they have no choice but to do so. If their turn comes up and their only available move is to attack, they will still do it. But it overall makes bats, which move randomly and are the bane of Coda's existence, a lot more manageable. So the Wrist Charm I picked up is a really strong item for Coda. It's an item that provides 2 extra damage when you are at very low health, when you're at half a heart of health. Coda is always at half a heart of health, so that plus 2 damage is always active. And it also gets affected by the Glass Jaw I'm holding. So now I'm doing a total of 6 damage, which is enough to one-shot most enemies. So the build's kind of starting to come together. Ring of Piercing is very strong in the late game. Here's Heavy Glass Armor. Heavy Glass Armor provides 3 hits of damage negation. So now I'm actually, despite Coda's inherent one-hit death scenario, I can actually take a few hits here now. It's worth noting that that's only for external damage, though. Taking damage from things like missing beats and picking up gold won't be protected against with the heavy glass, so I still have to watch out for those. But taking attacks from enemies is perfectly fine now. So yeah, now that I have Compass, high damage, and a good ring, Compass pointing me towards the exit, I start kind of pushing a little bit harder, making just following that Compass arrow, trying to aggressively push towards the exit, spending minimal time shopping for items. Checking the shop here. Since Coda can't pick up gold, she gets shop items for free, as you've probably noticed by now. And we're on to the second boss here, King Congo. With the level 3 dig provided by the Glass Shovel, I can destroy Congo's throne, and by freezing him before I dig out the throne, he just stays in place, and I can kill him instantly. So make really quick work of that boss. Pick up a Transmute spell here, which allows me to transform nearby items into random other items. Could be useful to help find a couple of few last useful items to help with my survival, and in this case I get a Fireball spell, which is a nice 3 damage horizontal attack. Just fires out infinitely until it hits a wall. It's pretty powerful and gives Coda some otherwise lacking range. Picking up a free scroll there. Pulse tomes are and pulse spells in general are a little tricky to use. They fire out a diagonal attack. They're a little hard to aim on the fly, so I value the freeze scroll much higher, which freeze scroll will freeze all enemies on screen for, I believe it's 14 beats. Kind of getting surprised by the quick rush down there, so I take another hit in my heavy blast, and I'm down to 1 hit left. So I'm going to have to be a little bit careful on that. Swapping out to the Ring of Peace over Piercing. Ring of Peace is essentially the game's easy mode ring. It reduces the number of enemies for all future floors and makes mini-bosses spawn as their weakest form. So the best ring you overall, and the ring you want on Coda. So Death Metal here is the fastest song in the game, so I just pop the free scroll here to make it easy for myself. Checking black here because Coda has a very small item pool due to all the things you can't get, weapons and health and all those sorts of things. And it was very possible that I had cycled through the entire item pool and that I would find another set of heavy glass in there. Just finding Boots of Strength, which gives me another +1 damage, which, you know, again gets doubled by the glass jaw. So I'm now doing a total of 8 damage, which is a little bit overkill. Once you're at 6 damage, you're pretty much already one-shotting almost like every mini-boss in question. Picked up a Grenade Charm back in Zone 3, which turns my bombs into a ranged 6 damage attack, with only a 1-beat fuse on them. And I have 21 bombs here, so I have the ability to throw a lot of grenades here to try and keep things out of arm's reach. Making a little bit of a mistake there and stepping into that bomb before it detonates, so I believe this is at this point where I start to rely on grenades a little bit more, since I don't really have much protection. I don't want to be fighting things close range if I can help it, so making good use of the grenades. Do a little bit of a trick here. 4-3 is the fastest song in the game other than Death Metal at 160 BPM, and it's running on double tempo, so it's 320 taps per minute, so more than 5 actions a second. Pretty hard to keep up with, but if you destroy a tempo trap while it's active, it will actually remain active. Just can't turn off. So I use that to make the 4-3 considerably easier. You might think, oh, why am I making it slower in a speed run? That's not good. But actually, I think the how much more efficiently I was able to play that, given the slower tempo, how much easier it was to plot out optimal routes, was a better play both for safety and for speed. So we've started Zone 5. Get a little bit of a tricky double electric mage setup here that costs me my new set of glass armor, so a little bit on the danger zone again. But yeah, just gonna make sure I'm giving enemies plenty of space. When I get a big swarm, just let the enemies separate out, so the faster enemies separate from the slower ones, and they're easier to pick off. And just, yeah, using the grenades again to clear enemies out at a distance. And we're coming up on the last floor before the final boss, 5-3 here. 5-3 is almost as fast as as 4-3. Not quite though, but unfortunately my grenade there gets blocked by the Gorgon statue, but still in pretty good shape. Have plenty of grenades left for the rest of the run. More than enough damage to one-shot that green dragon, and we're on to the final boss, which is Fortissimo. Can be a little bit tricky of a fight here. So, and you know, we're at the end of the run, so I'm just gonna play it safe here. Make sure I kill all the ads before taking on the big mole himself. So Fortissimo, you gotta get off the stage by clearing out his crowd here. And then bait him into attacking by popping out, and then just finish him off like that. And that's that. So yeah, that's Coda All Zones mode right there. I think it's absolutely worth considering. It's an extremely technically challenging and impressive run, and I am by far the most consistent player of Coda. It was a very successful run when it was shown off a few years ago at I believe it was AGDQ 2016. And there's a whole lot of new tech, and it's an even more challenging run here, but I'm pretty confident that I can deliver a good marathon run for you. So that's all. Thanks for watching.